My name is Tiana. Welcome to my channel. Today the look I'm going to be creating is something green. Not exactly sure what. But we're going to get into this together and figure it out. So I'm going to do my brows and prep my eyes off camera because that takes a little bit, and then we're going to figure out this green look together. Okie dokie. So my eyebrows are done and my lids are primed. For my brows, I used the Maybelline Tattoo Studio Brow Pomade in the shade 382. And for under my brows, to clean them up a little bit, I used a mixture of the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in Dark 46 and the Sephora Bright Future Concealer in the shade Pot de Creme. And on my lid, the concealer that I have is the ColourPop Dark 46 Concealer. So we're gonna get started because I'm chatting. So we're gonna start with this Dose of Colors Francation palette, and we're gonna pick up this shade right here. It's called Necessary. It's basically a bone color, and we're gonna use that as our transition shade. And we're picking up a Morphe Jaclyn Hill number 32 brush, and just put this right in the crease. Staying in the Francation palette, we are gonna pick up this shade right here. It's a lighter brown, well, darker than the one we just picked up, but it's a light brown. And we're gonna put that on top of Necessary. That shade, this new shade is called Churro. Since we are working with a shimmer shade first, I'm gonna put more concealer on my lid because I really want this color to pop. And we're gonna make it do what it do. Okay. Again, using the ColourPop No Filter Concealer in the shade Dark 46 and a Morphe M224 brush. When you're doing this, make sure you take your time and keep looking down, because what you don't want to do is put concealer or a base on your lid and then you look up and it transfers to your crease. The worst. The worst. So keep looking down. And make sure you really have the shape that you want before you move to the next eye. I usually work from the inside and go out, but I want to do something different today, and I want to start on the outside and work my way in. So I'm going to pick up a Morphe and Jaclyn Hill number 40 brush, and going into the ColourPop Just My Luck palette, I'm going to pick up the shade Mo Bamba, this one right here. And I'm going to put that on the outer edge, so right where the concealer starts to fade out, that's where we're going to start with this shade. So we're going to pack it on because there's concealer there, so it's still a little wet. So I packed it, and then now I'm doing little circular motions to blend it out just a little bit. What I want is a dark crease, so I'm gonna go into my Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette and pick up this shade right here. It's called Space Queen, and I'm gonna put that on top of that ColourPop shadow because this is the kind of green that I'm looking for, so that's what I want here. .41 brush, just a flat eyeshadow brush, and I'm gonna put the shade Olive You and put that on the lid. And I'm gonna stop right before I get to the inner corner because that's where we're gonna put our highlight. Using a Morphe M456 brush. Well, I'm blind, I can't read. It says 50-50. This one right here, 50-50. And we're gonna put that on the transition between that dark matte shade on the outer corner and Olive Hue. So we're gonna put that right there. That way it doesn't look like yellow, green, dark green. We don't want harsh lines. We want a blend, a wash, a marrying of colors. I'm gonna go into the shade Chances Are and put that first on my inner corner. Now that we have this matte shadow placed, next we are going to pick up the shade Blue Dream from the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette, and we're going to put that right on top of that matte shade we just put. Yes! Look at that blend. Make sure you get it all up, because what you don't want to do is blend sparkle into your foundation. For the face, we're going to start with this Fourth Ray Beauty jojoba oil, and we're just going to put this on the face. Next, sunscreen. Never forget it. The sunscreen that I'm using currently is the Supergoop Everyday Sunscreen with sunflower extract in SPF 50. Honestly, once you go past 35, they all basically do about the same thing, but this was the only option, so it has SPF 50, but there really is no difference between 35 and 99. So I just put this on. It feels super lightweight, so most days I don't wear foundation. I'll just wear some oil, my sunscreen, and some highlight and call it a day. And this sunscreen, it helps the skin look really healthy, really glowy. So get you some Supergoop. If not, the Neutrogena sunscreen is really good. I can't remember the name right now. But that was the one that I was using before this one. This was a holiday gift that hasn't run out yet. Primer. I'm gonna use the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer, and I'm gonna put this on the outer parts of my face, so not the T-zone, just the perimeter. This primer is so good, it feels so nice. Now for the T-zone, the primer that we are going to use is the Sephora Smooth Primer. This primer is good because it is hydrating and is also mattifying, so it's gonna smooth out my pores very nicely. So I put it here on my nose and right here on the cheeks where my pores are large and in charge. Not in charge, but large, because I'm in charge. Now we're gonna move into foundation. And right now, what I've been loving is this Revlon Photo Ready Candid Foundation in the shade Mocha Mocha, and mixing it with my Fenty Beauty Pro Filter foundation in the shade 420. So putting these together has really been my jam. Just put this here on the forehead. Then I'm gonna go Fenty. Sometimes I forget that this is so watery. Now to blend that out, I'm gonna use my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush I prefer to blend out with a brush and then go back over with a sponge. I like to go back over that with a sponge, and the sponge that I like to do that with is the LC Cosmetics velvet sponge. The reason I like to go back over with a sponge is to pick up any extra product, because you know, sometimes we put a little too much on, and sponges are good for picking that up into concealer. We are gonna go in with the Fenty Beauty concealer in the shade 410. And we're just gonna put that in all the places that we highlight, except the forehead, because putting concealer on my forehead just never works for me. So we're not gonna do that. But what we are gonna do next is pick up the ColourPop No Filter Foundation Stick in the shade 213N and warm up the face just a little bit. So I'm going to go back in with my foundation brush and blend out this concealer. And for the nose concealer, I just pat it in. I don't rub it. I don't swipe, I just pat. And for the contour, I'm using this flat top Morphe Rose Gold brush. When I'm here on the cheekbones, I like to just use the side of the brush, going like this. Same on the other side. Just using it and rolling basically. And then when I get to the forehead, I use the flat top to make sure it's evenly dispersed. I'm going to use this small Eco Styles sponge, the little green one, and just pat this concealer in. In order to set the under eye and all the other concealer that we place, we're going to use the Fenty Pro Filter powder in the shade Honey. Under the eye, we're going to pack it on, and then everywhere else we're just going to do a dust. So to pack it, we're going to use that same Eco Styler sponge. Onto this Real Techniques setting brush, same Fenty powder. Going over the bridge of the nose, Cupid's bow, and down here. Now we're gonna get to this under eye. To do that, I'm gonna use the Melt Cosmetics Smoke Sessions palette with a Morphe and Jaclyn Hill number 43 brush. The color Sweet Tooth. Now for this last part of the lower lash line, I'm gonna go into the shade Space Queen, so that dark brown, this dark green that we had placed on the outer V, we're gonna put that on the lower lash line and connect it to what's above. To finish off this inner corner, we're gonna go back into the shade Blue Dream from the same Smoke Sessions palette, and we're gonna put that on the bottom. In order to get rid of all this bake, we are going to dust it away with that setting brush from Real Techniques. I got a little too carried away, put a little bit too much, but I'm gonna press that in using the LC Cosmetics sponge. Now we're gonna get rid of this powderiness just a little bit. We're almost done. Whew. And I used my Mario Badescu Rose Water Spray for that. Now we're gonna put on some mascara. And right now the one that I like the most is the NARS Climax Mascara. And we're gonna put that on the top lashes. Okay. So the lashes that I went with are the Lily Lashes Goddess lashes. Put those bad boys on. Very pretty. And for highlight, I went with the Dose of Colors Desi X Katy Chasing the Sun, because it is gorgeous, honey, gorgeous. So I highlighted the cheekbones, did the nose, Cupid's bow, and you know, the other side, obviously. Then for lips, I went in with ColourPop BFF 3 lip liner and filled in the lips. And then for the gloss, I used the ColourPop and Makeup Shayla gloss in Neat Freak. And yeah, that's the look. And I'm gonna just set my face one more time. Just to lock all that in. So that is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys are inspired to recreate this look. I'll see you next time.